Let me guess, you from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good.
Now let's talk about Bartlett. Bartlett's made up of 3 zip codes. There's an older section and there's a newer section. There's a desirable area and a lesser desirable area. I don't know.
But both still good. I would say.
They're all 3 good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, like, if anyone comes to me and says, "Hey, this house is in Bartlett. It's priced right. It's occupied." Blah blah blah. Yes, it's a good one. I always tell them to move on it. They have good schools. They have a private school system, so they have their own Bartlett City Schools. That is
which I hear a lot of good things about.
Yeah, it's a big issue here in this region, in our county, I should say, the school systems and what's a part of what. But some of these cities and these small suburbs have broken off from the Shelby Metro school system, and they've developed their own. Bartlett has their own. Yep. That's been an attraction to homeowners, tenants, especially tenants. So that's what I think people want to hear. Is one of the reasons why Bartlett remains a strong rental community is because people are getting out. It's affordable rent. They can get into a nice $100,000 home, $120,000 home for $1,200 in rent, the 1% rule. 2 incomes in the household, they can afford to do that and afford to pay that, and they like those schools.
Yeah, and I think it's a suburb of Memphis, right? I mean, it's its own little entity. As part of the Memphis, what do they call it, MSA or whatever.
Yeah.
And we can get there from our office in 5 minutes?
5 minminutes.
Yeah, it's super right up Summer.
Right up Summer.
We have offices we manage up there.
That's right.
Which is unusual as far as just, I mean, the offices, my dentist is up there.
Yeah.
I've had my dentist up there for 20 years since I moved here. And so there's just businesses that you want to be, the office we manage has like 6, 7 attorneys and closing attorneys, and
so this is way different than 127, 127, and 128.
Yeah, it's a whole different feel,
and it's 5 minutes away.
That's right.
That's what's so funny about our city.
They're right beside each other. 127, 128, and then you start into the Bartlett.
You can technically start on Stage Road and drive east and drive right through 127, 128.
That's true.
Bartlett, you can go all the way out to the county. It turns into 64 and out to Oakland. So
we have a friend that likes to try to say Raleigh is the Bartlett. You know what I mean? Like he'll put it on the edge and say, "Oh, that's in Bartlett." No.
Yeah, hell, he's listening right now too. He does that with High Point too.
Does he?
Little fringe High Point.
Fringe High Point, yeah.
So taking it from 128, you go to 134, 134. It's an older. That's the older part of Bartlett.
Yeah.
So if you go back to our history lesson, and we started in 127 with the suburb, it moved to 128, and as the city developed even further, it kept moving further east, and that's what started 134.
Correct.
All right, that's where the high school is. That's where older homes are. The railroad tracks run right through.
The town
hall. That's right.
Yep.
Is all right there. You come up on Bartlett Boulevard, and that began a little newer phase of Bartlett. You've got an Applebee's, and you've got chain restaurants, and you've got growth, a Lowe's, a Home Depot. I mean, you've got the standard things that you find in a suburb. Yep. It's not our high-end suburb, but it's a middle class. Price.
I mean, shoot, but look at these. Well, you're talking about the 134.
I'm talking about 134. It's going to be a little bit more middle class. Now, I'm going to give you some of the numbers from 134, and then 133 and 135 are going to be drastically different. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, number of home sales in 134, which I'm just going to continue to move east on you.
Sure.
So from 128 to 134, number of home sales is 343. Average home sales price is $123,191. That's up 8% from 2017. Number of bank sales are 21. So see, those are much, much lower.
What is that, like 3 point something a month?
Yeah, very few.
Very few.
So if you were a foreclosure agent a few years ago and you're still in it, I'm sure you're struggling.
Yeah.
Let's see, number of investor purchases 154. This is an incredible number, but 45% of the sales in the zip code. So when I tell you that there's people moving out there in this median $120,000 price range to rent, that's the truth. They're moving out there for the schools, and it's affordable rent.
Well, this is where you get into, you're competing on that house. Could be a retail person or an investor. It's a much more likelihood of two different type of people looking at the same house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can have a retail sale and an investor sale in this area and two people buying the same thing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's a toss up. What's going to happen?
That's right. Average tax appraisal is $94,000. Number of foreclosures is 37 this calendar year, and average foreclosure amount's $80,000. So 38134 is clearly several steps up from 128 and 127. The total number of sales I said was 343. That's down 4% from 17. So that's a decent little dip, but not anything dramatic. So we're staying pretty consistent in 38134. I like it. I think you can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage for $120,000. Brick typically. Again, with the dual incomes in the household. I keep saying that, but I think that's extremely important. I mean, life happens. Mom can get laid off, dad can get laid off, whatever. And if you have those 2 incomes, generally they can survive kind of the storm.
Get through it, yeah.
So that's 38134. Now, as Bartlett grew, more and more people wanted to stay in Bartlett. This is, again, is 40 years ago now at this point. People wanted to stay in Bartlett. They wanted to be part of that community. So the town itself has kind of expanded and grown. So we've got 2 other zip codes, 38133 and 38135. If I'm right, 38133 is just north of 38134, and 38135 continues out east. That's moving towards the Cordova, Germantown Parkway area, 38135. So 38133. What kind of presence do you guys have out there? Y'all have property out there? This is a little higher than what you guys typically buy, isn't it?
From a purchase, yeah. So we don't own but a handful.
Yeah. I sell a ton of these now. I mean, investors love. If I can find, I'd be willing to bet if I had $100,000 good condition 38134 home today that would rent for $1,200, I could probably sell it for the end of the show. So there's investors that are still looking for those. Now, 38133 is north of 38134. You're about to hear some drastically different numbers, but this became a very good zip code and popular zip code in 2004 and 5. The new construction growth out there was incredible. We had several builders, Vintage, Vax and Gillis, Grant and Company. I mean, a bunch of local builders that were building out large communities out there. Old Brownsville area. You keep going through that whole area, and this is what 38133 is. Okay. So here's a few stats from there, and then I'm going to get your opinion on this one. Number of home sales is 276 this year. That's up 23% from 2017. Wow. So there's a bump. That to me is probably going to tell us a whole lot about that zip code. Number of bank sales is just 12.
But look at the sales price, though.
The average sales price is $195,000. Yeah. All right, that's almost $100.
I would say almost. That's probably $100 square foot.
They're getting
pricing,
92 to 105 in some of those areas.
Wow, 92 to 105.
Number of investor purchases is only 70. That's 25% of the sales in the zip. So you're getting to where that 195 average sales price is too high for investors because you can't get 2,000 in rent or higher or whatever it may be. So this zip code specifically is pricing itself out from an investor standpoint.
But it's a good, if you're a long-term player, appreciation and just that
if you
solid
want more,
tenant, just it'd be a good raw 1031 exchange type purchase
for sure.
Where it's just safe.
They're going to pay the rent.
They're going to pay the rent. You
dual
put your money to
incomes
work.
Again. That's right.
3-4% return, cash on cash, maybe 5%.
You might see some appreciation of 3 to 5% a year.
That's right. That's where you're gonna make it. So
let's see. They're up actually. It's pretty good. I'm actually getting. It's up 6%. So that's been up 6% from last year. So that's about the appreciation you're getting. Only 15 foreclosures in this entire calendar year. That's incredible.
So 2 a month,
maybe. Yeah. Just a little bit over 2. That's right. And then average foreclosure amount's $100,000. So 38133, if you can find you a good deal in 38133, I wouldn't pass on it. If you don't mind the lower return, easier process, this is for you. Extremely passive. You can feel confident that I've got one in this zip code right now that we're selling. You can remain extremely passive. You're probably going to get, because it's north, you're probably going to get some military families from Millington that are not wanting to live in Millington, that are going to want to live down in Bartlett, which is the northern part. We've got a huge Navy base in Millington. So you might get some Navy tenants from there. It might not be a bad idea to even market to those guys from up there. So 38133, good zip code, solid area. I'd say several notches above 38134 from a quality of home, potential tenant base. Again, it has Germantown Parkway, which, the northern part of it, which has got jobs and restaurants and different things. So that's a mall. It's a thriving, kind of growing area. What are some of your? I know you don't have a ton of experience or a ton of property experience out there, but when we manage a ton.
Oh, when I manage, it's like Christmas.
Right. So see, that's what I want to get to the listeners and tell them why that is.
Well, because it's an easy rental. I mean, it's it's not like some of the other zip codes we talked about earlier where there's a lot of work. You plop this one in the system, it's going to look lower on the return, which is to be expected on just paper, but it's going to feel so much different. The houses are newer. Their tenants probably not going to take care of. They're going to take care of most of the issues themselves. I've met several tenants over the years that lived in that area that never called their landlord. They just took care of it because they're busy. They just get on Saturday. They just want to fool with it. They don't want somebody in their house. So they just fix that. That's right. Leaky faucet, go Lowe's and pick up a $10 washer or whatever
and do it themselves.
Do it themselves. Like I said, that's why it's Christmas for us.
So from a management standpoint, that ought to be a good indicator for you as an investor that if the manager loves it, you should love it too.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
38133 was just north. We talked about that. Almost a $200,000 average sales price. Yeah. Not nearly as many investor purchases. Only 70 this year. So it's much more attractive to homeowners at 38133. So now we go to 38135. This is east of 38134 and 38133. Similar, newer. I mean, it's
quieter, right?
Quieter.
It's like it's a little bit less businesses but it's bigger lots and quieter streets and
bigger houses.
Yep. You'll see 1 acre lots up there, 2 acre lots.
You sure will. Off Old Brownsville Road.
And
you start going up and you find in some of those properties up there. So let's hit some of these numbers. Number of sales this year in 38135 is 373. That's down 8% from 17. To me, that shows, since that's taking a dip and the rest of this is going up, that's more residential. If it were more investor stuff, it would still keep climbing.
Yeah.
So this shows you it's more residential. Average home sales price is $180,606. Now that's up almost 10% from 2017. Yeah. So see, to me, that's more residential growth and lack of inventory that we've got in this whole area, to be honest with you.
Do you think on the number of home sales, with it being down, in my mindset, I've always said, unless I could find a foreclosure, why would I move?
Well, that's what people are saying.
That's what I'm saying. Why would I move?
It's great to sell your home.
It's great to sell, make a lot of money. Where are you going? What are you going to do with it?
You get a retail agent in here right now, and they'll start crying, and they'll tell you it'll be a whole sob story.
They can't find inventory. They can't find. I guess what I'm saying. Unless you're moving, there's a lady in our neighborhood moving from our neighborhood to weigh it out, Collierville.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that.
Right.
But if that's your area and you love to be in the area, why move?
You can't.
Unless there's functionally something wrong with your house or
your family's growing and you've got to have the space.
You got to be dissatisfied for some reason to want to move. Otherwise it's a break even, potentially lose
big time, because I would imagine you're going to get a bigger home.
That's right.
Your mortgage is going to go up.
And you're fighting.
You got to pay for it. You're going to fight 3 or 4 other buyers that are trying to buy it. So that's what residential retail agents are telling you right now, that there's no inventory because people can't sell because they don't have a place to go.
Yeah.
And if you really want to go back to why that is, it's because the builders from 5 and 6 years ago were so limited on the lots they could build, and we hadn't caught up from it. That's a whole nother retail show, though.
Yeah, that's
dive into that. So 38135, 180,000 is their average sales price. 20 bank sales. There's 91 investor purchases. That's up 24%, or not up. That is 24% of the sales in the entire zone.
Yeah.
So you can still find some investor properties in 38135. It's just not as plentiful. So here, the average investor price is $144.
Yeah,
those are probably $1,400-$1,500 rentals.
And that's going to be those guys that build a rent,
or
they bought those old lots that are small that off. I can't remember that road, but we manage several up there.
Yeah,
it's real quiet, but it's super nice. But
hedge fund purchases.
Yeah, hedge fund. Yeah,
ton of hedge fund purchases that are willing to pay that amount.
That's right.
28 foreclosures this year.
So and less than 3 a month.
That's right. And the average price for those is $116,000. So if you can get you a foreclosure up there, it's probably going to need
Pricey.
$25,000 in work, but it's a good little area. So the 38135 zip code is similar to 38133. I would say 38133 is a little better for residential. It's a little bit nicer. Homes, just have a few more standard features that are better than maybe 38135. But you still get that good community atmosphere in Bartlett. So give me kind of your summary.
Yeah.
We got a couple of minutes left.
To me, I drew it out while you're talking just because I want to understand the 240 piece and how they all connect. I mean, basically, if you go left to right through what we talked about today, it's like how involved to how passive you want to be.
That's exactly right.
Like,
from what you're saying is, from 127, you got to be super involved. The further east you go, the less involved, the more passive you can become.
And I'm talking about even with a property manager. We were talking with the client yesterday. You got to manage the manager. I don't care what you say, how good our systems are. You got to make choices of how you want the rehabs to look, how secure you want that place during occupancy, after occupancy. And I'm talking about 127, 128, and 134, 135. You're not really talking about putting on security doors and putting on cages.
Not typically.
And locking fences and boarding up windows. I mean, we don't do that in those 3 Bartlett zip codes. That's not really part of the conversation.
It's just basically two different areas, 2 different things. But the further east you travel, the more passive you can get.
That's right. That's a great way to summarize. I think I said that.
Did I say that or you said that?
I said that.
Dan, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you, Dan.
Yeah, good.
I swear I can't get enough.